welcome back to In the Can. We're going to be talking about the film The Words with director Brian Klugman and Lee Sternthal. So thank you both for coming in.
Thank you.
It's great. Congratulations is the first thing I want to say, not only for being here at Sundance, but also being the first film here at Sundance to be acquired by a major studio. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. We're super excited.
CBS purchased the film after what I hear was a bidding war. Was that an exciting time?
It was. It was very interesting. You know, Lee and I are, obviously we love movies, so you read all these years about like those rooms where people were talking about trying to sell the movie and then actually being in one with all these characters and the phone ringing, and
it was pretty amazing.
Did you have to keep kicking each other underneath the table, stuff like that?
Honestly,
cool?
I think we tried to stay out of it as much as possible.
Sometimes you very rarely you feel like, oh, I know what I'm doing. In this case, you were like, I'm going to defer to these people.
And these people do know what they're doing.
Yes, they do.
And you know, the best part was we found like the right place, you know, for the movie, and that was really.
Well, obviously you know what you're doing because you're here, and the movie has got a lot of buzz about it.
I want to clarify
Go
one thing.
ahead.
There's no way we know what we're doing.
Okay. So this film just kind of happened, and it just happens to be here at Sundance. It's the closing film, so the screening, you know, is tonight. So even though you've had all this, you know, a lot of people are talking about it, does that make it easier or worse, actually, when there's so much hype about the film and you still haven't screened it yet?
It's always nice to come in under the radar and surprise people. The expectations definitely add something to it, but it's interesting, and
and the way it's playing out, to answer that, is like, you know, the fact that like we show the movie just a very small press and industry screening at the beginning, but the movie doesn't show till the closing of the festival. It's this weird kind of limbo to be in. You know, it's definitely surreal.
It's just a waiting game. So you do your best to wait through it, basically.
Well, it's a big day for you guys, so we appreciate you being here. I hear all of your cast is going to be here, and what a cast you have in this film.
We don't have everybody, but we have a lot of them. You know, we don't have. Jeremy Irons is shooting, and Olivia Wilde wasn't able to make it, and Nora Nazader wasn't able to make it, and but we have Bradley Cooper here, we have Ben Barnes here, we have Zoe Saldana, we have Dennis Quaid.
So it's going to be a great Q&A with them afterwards.
I think so, yeah.
They're all very fun to talk to.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Good.
It should be fun.
Well, and I know that you grew up actually with Bradley Cooper, right? So you have a good relationship with him. Was it you?
Lee and I grew up together. We went to summer camp together and known each other since we were 10.
Okay.
And Bradley and I went to elementary school together and have also known each other since we were 10.
Wow.
So, and they know each other, you know, through me, and they've become good friends. And, you know, I mean, I got to make a movie with my two oldest friends.
Yeah, we got to make a movie. It was a real family kind of feeling.
Were you guys making movies when you were younger?
We were always doing some.
I was going to say, are we going to be able to see? You should have brought some in for us to see.
Like some of
those early films of like skateboarding.
We've been making stuff up together since we were 11, so
That's
it's a very natural progression to doing this.
So you guys wrote this film together. What was the process like in co-writing?
Well, we write together. We worked together as writers for many years, and we actually wrote this script almost 12 years ago.
Okay. And did you write it knowing that Bradley would be?
No, actually, what's interesting is that after we wrote it about a decade ago.
Okay.
And we did a reading of it, and Bradley was actually in the audience for the reading, and this was in 2000.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that
was interesting.
Yeah, he had just moved to LA. He was sleeping on our couch.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you know,
that's a great
amazing
story. Yeah. So, where'd you get the inspiration for this? I mean, and that's kind of an interesting question to ask. Where'd you get the inspiration for this? Because that's very much about what the movie is about, and where do people get the ideas for things? When do you cross the line of stealing people's work?
Sure.
You know,
well, we were driving around and we were working on something else, and for some reason we got into a discussion about writers who had lost their work. You know, there's a lot of folklore about that, from Ernest Hemingway to T.E. Lawrence, and from there we started to play the game of what if you lost all your work, or your most important work? What if you found work by Hemingway? Would you realize it?
Would it be great? What if he stopped writing? There's all these questions that came up. It was kind of this great conversation we had, and then we kind of built this scenario around it. Who would have lost it? Who would have found it? And what would happen? You know, these very specific hands. And we went home and we were pretty inspired, and we wrote the first like kernel of what became the movie. You know, the first 30 pages, which have largely remained intact. We wrote them in one night.
In one sitting, and that you think, when you're young, you think that's going to happen all the time, but it doesn't happen all the time. In fact, it rarely ever happens. So it was pretty amazing to do it.
So, you know, I had read or you know, I'm intrigued with this idea too, and I think Elizabeth Gilbert actually said that, you know, her book Eat, Pray, Love was just a stroke of genius that came through her, and she talked about how, you know, many of the classic writers actually believed that, you know, spirits would come to you and great stories would just work through you.
The one thing I like what Woody Allen says. He says, "I don't know about inspiration, but when it comes calling, it normally finds me at my desk."
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
that's
good. That's
sort
kind of how it worked for you. So this story
Yeah.
is very layered. I mean, you've got lots of stories going on all at once, because I read that it was kind of like a Russian Matryoshka doll, you know, with lots of different layers and things.
Yeah.
Is that a difficult film to direct, because you've got to make sure that everything works together and makes sense, because you have it in your head.
There was a challenge of
but,
that, you know.
yeah.
There's a challenge. I mean, like very different looking kind of segments in our conception. So making sure that they all fit together in a fluid kind of way.
Yeah.
That wasn't something that we were really able to see how to make work, or that was going to work, until we got into the editing room. But you know, the layered kind of structure, the structure of the film was never. It wasn't intended to be like super challenging or anything. It just kind of came out the way it came out organically.
We weren't trying to be clever or do. Somebody called it Inception. Like it was.
Oh, okay.
It was just. It's a story that we started to write, and we let the needs of the story sort of dictate the structure of the movie.
Okay.
And that was how we did it. It wasn't like this grand design that we had when we were starting off.
Yeah, well, it is an interesting way how it does incorporate so many stories. I mean, we don't see a lot of that, so I think people are kind of drawn to that as kind of a unique element to the film.
And it's very exciting. I mean, people are going to see the movie really for the first time tonight, like this audience. So we're really excited.
Yeah.
So I hope people
bet.
enjoy
Yeah.
it.
So what's next for you guys? I mean, it's great that you guys have this history together. Do you guys ever not get along and maybe want to strangle each other or something, or is it pretty smooth? I mean, I would.
For the most part, pretty smooth. I mean,
Yeah.
you work with somebody, you spend a ton of time with somebody. You know, you have
I think
a
the
partnership.
I think the mark of a relationship is actually being able to fight, you know, creatively, and then realizing it's just a fight, you know.
And trust that it's going to bring out the best in each
Yeah.
other.
When
Yeah.
we come back to the next
Absolutely.
segment, we'll have a wrestling match.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Right out there.
Yeah,
Just
great.
go at it.
So are you guys already working on something else?
Yeah, we're working on a couple of different things right now, and we're trying to figure out what we would like to maybe direct next, and you know, just pretty much. We've been working very hard to get this movie finished and ready for the festival, and so I think there might be a minute of just like stepping
Chilling out
back
a little
and
bit.
Yeah,
taking a look at, like, you know, we have a couple of things, and we're writing another script right now.
Yeah, we're writing a movie for Warner Brothers and Infinitum Nihil, which is Johnny Depp's company, and we're very excited about it.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a
Good
great
for you
project,
guys. Well, we're
so.
going to see more of you, and of course, the audiences are going to see more of the film because it's going to be screening tonight. What a great day! And then, of course, lots of screenings also tomorrow. I know.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
people have lots of chances to get out and see the film, and then if they can't see it here at Sundance, they're going to be able to see it very soon because, again, it was acquired very quickly from CBS. And congratulations on that. It's wonderful.
Thank
you
you
both
so much.
for coming
Thanks
in.
for
Best
having
of luck
us.
tonight.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right, we'll be back with more in the can right after this.